शहंशाह कायनात इमाम ज़माना अलैहिस्सलाम खानवादाए अहलुल बैत पर बुलंद तरीन सलवात बराए अमीर कायनात असदुल्लाह ऐनुल्लाह यदुल्लाह अमीर अल-मोमिनीन अली इब्न अबी तालिब पर बुलंद तरीन सलवात बराए हजरत बतूल बराए बिनते रसूल तकलैन मादर हसनैन शहजादी कौनैन पर बुलंद तरीन सलवात शफाए मरीज व दफाए बला फर्श के बिछने के लिए अज़ादारी की कबूलियत के लिए ईमान की गामजनी के लिए वलायत की हिफाजत के लिए अज़ादारी की कबूलियत के लिए आंसुओं को रुमाले पाक मुतहर में जगह पाने के लिए बुलंद तरीन सलवात for the sake of the reappearance, the early reappearance of Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, for the faraj of Ali Muhammad, for being amongst those who will be the helpers and the nusratan of the faraj of Ali Muhammad, for the love of Hazrat Zahra and the wilayat which he will proclaim in this dunya, for us to be counted amongst his faithful and ever attentive followers, to be counted amongst the muntazir, and if death comes between us and Imam, may we be raised from our graves to serve him and to help him. For that purpose, may we have a loud Jamio Salawat. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful, I seek refuge in him from the accursed Satan, the one who deviates and the one who misguides. Salutations upon the Holy Prophet of Islam, Muhammad Mustafa, sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, the one who was sent with the book so that mankind may be guided. Salutations upon the third holy Imam from the family of Fatima, Aba Abdullah Sayyidul Shahadat, Imam Hussain ibn Ali, who went to the fields of Karbala so that the truth may be upheld. Salutations upon him and his noble followers. Peace be upon them all, the ones who adorn the land of Karbala, the land with miraculous powers, which is Khak-e-Shafa. May we be counted amongst those who are able to visit him and his noble followers so that we may gain guidance from them. Salutations upon them until the days turn into night, and may my parents be sacrificed for you, O Mawla. Salutations upon the last holy Imam from the family of Fatima, Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, the one who will fill this earth with justice and equality, just as it is filled with injustice and inequality. We await so that we may be among the ones who will avenge the silent graves of Baqi, and we will avenge the merciless killing of Imam Hussain in Karbala. For the one who is the Waris-e-Aza of this farsh, and for the one who awaits so that the Zulfiqar can be put to use. Salutations upon our last holy Imam, Hazrat Hujjat Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Salawat alayhi. Amma ba'd, qala Ali alayhi salam, al-yawm al-ghadir, alhamdulillah alladhi ja'alna min al-mutamassiqina biwilayati amir al-mu'minina wal-a'immata min ba'di ithna ashar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Sisters in Iman and Islam, Salamun alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. काश मैं आज ये मजलिस उर्दू में ही पढ़ लेती, ज़रा ना. I can only see the ladies who would have loved to listen to this in Urdu, but duty calls. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. All praise is only for Allah, Imam Sajjad says. Through his teachings of Sahifa Sajjadiyya, the Zabur of Ali Muhammad, a sign of a Momin household is that we have three basic things which are a form of guidance for us. Number one, the Quran. Number two, Nahjul Balagha. And number three, Sahifa Sajjadiyya. These are the du'as that Imam Sajjad narrated to us and taught it, and it came down the centuries when he was facing the roughest period of his life. And amidst all the trials and tribulations, ye dua ka majmua hum tak pahunchta hai. And this is called, because of the intensity in words, in meaning, and in the conveyance to us, because of the lofty ideals taught to us in this dua, in this book of dua, it is even called Zabur Ali Muhammad. Like it is equivalent to what was revealed upon Dawood from the skies. This in wazn would be the Zabur of Ali Muhammad, like what came upon Dawood. From there, I just take a couple of things so that we may tabarrukan refer to the dua and get some hidayat from it. Imam says in openings, in all the du'as, if you look at the content and the tone of the du'as, he begins with the praise of Allah. And then any one particular sifat and characteristics that he wants to see in the mashra to be changed. Yani agar unhone dekha ki there was less of gratitude, he gave us a dua that how do you be grateful to Allah? How do you enact gratitude in your life? And he says, all praise is only to Allah who taught us about himself. Yani hame Allah ne apni hidayat di. Or kaha, and he said that he opened doors of knowledge upon us through the Quran. And he did not stop there, and he directed us towards Tawheed through the ones who could explain Tawheed. And then Imam says, none other than the Ahlul Bayt know Allah the way he is supposed to be recognized. And he explained to us, and Imam says that this book restrains us. It stops us from doing evil and leads us towards good. But because the book cannot speak to us and enact the goodness and the evil, Allah kept us as the vocal Quran. Quran is Samit, Quran is Natiq. The silent Quran is the book of Allah. It doesn't speak to me in the sense that it cannot enact. It's an inanimate object. But the Imams are a living Quran. And herein he says that if you follow the ones who explain the Quran, all praises him that he saves you from the painful chastisement of the fire. पता ये चला कि इमाम के कुरान के ऊपर अमल करने के लिए इमाम का रास्ता लोगे तो chastisement से बच जाओगे. Now you understand this. Certain concepts have to be explained in the way they were revealed, either in Arabic or in the language of your comfort. And then he says in Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq, my Lord, you call me towards you, and yet I turn my face away. Now here he's pointing out to the shortcomings which are present in us. यानी ऐसे नहीं हो सकता कि ever Imam, the fourth holy Imam, Allah called him and he didn't turn towards Allah. These are ismat taharat. They cannot do such things. Here it is tarbiyat for you and me. He says, you call me towards you and I turn my face away. You express your love to me and I reject it. Kitna meherban hai na wo Allah. Hum kitni khataएं, how many indecencies, how many sins, how many slipping and falling happens through us in our daily lives. And yet he does not stop from loving us. He is our Rabb. माँ से ज्यादा मोहब्बत करने वाला. And he says, you are generous to me and I don't count your favors. कितनी नेमतें हैं जिसका हम शुमार नहीं करते. And Imam says, oh Allah, for you made the Quran as a means to guide us. And he then refers, Imam Sadiq alayhi salawatullah wa salam alayhi, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam narrates from his grandfather, the Prophet. He quotes an ayat, and it is, let me take you to Medina. Zehno mein Medina chale. Allah kare ke sahi chale jaye. Allah kare ke ye qadam jaye Medina. और जब आप जाए मदीना तो हरे रोजे पर बाद में सलामी देना. सलामी बाद में देना, पुरसा पहले देना. Do girya first to the Prophet for the graves of Baqi that are in the scorching sun. For the tragedy that is upon the ummah, that we cannot go and do her ziyarat. We are stopped from even presenting our salam to her and to her 4 sons and to the other Itrat al Muhammad that lay in Baqi. So it was Medina, and the 6th holy Imam was Rona Kafroz on the member, and the people asked him about Rasulullah and said that, what is the one thing that the Prophet did for the Ummah? So he said, I cannot say one thing. The whole of the Prophet's life was dedicated to the Ummah and the tarbiyah of the Ummah. But what was that one thing which could be the decisive factor? And do you know what did the 6th holy Imam narrate? He says, the Prophet described the Quran. And he said that with the Quran, I leave my itrat, my family. And what does he say? He said, to hold on fast to them. And from here in, Mawla starts talking about something that he said, these are 2 entities, the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt, but the cord is one. Habl Mateen is one. So in reality, they cannot be separate. And then he says, Imam says that this noble Quran, the vocal Quran is us, and he points to himself. And this is the silent Quran. And he said, remember, this is the Quran. And he quotes from Surah Bani Israel, ayat number 9. He says, Inna hadal Quran. Surely, O people, this is the Quran. Yahdi, it guides. So tell me, sisters, how can this Quran guide you? There is certain things which are unknown to us. We do not know the hidden meaning. And then Imam says, it guides through, and he uses the ayat of Quran and he says, Allati hayal aqwamo, for the ones who are upright and straight. And Imam says, we are the ones, hum hi wo log hai, कि जो सीधे हैं और सीधा रास्ता है, we are the sirat mustaqim, who know how the Quran wants to convey and what does the Quran want to convey. We are the ones who do. And he praises Imam Sajjad and he says that the silent book of the Quran was in the hands of the Muslims in Kufa. Yes or no? The silent book was in the hands of the people. Ibn Ziyad, La'natullah alayh's mimbar and his court was adorned by the Quran. Yes or no? Yes. But the one that was the speaking Quran was speaking from the Neza. Yes or no? So that is what is meant, that this Quran guides you, and we are the vehicle for everything to come into existence. There is a cause and an effect. For this bottle of water to come here in its packed form, it had to go through a process. In order for the Quran ayats to be nas upon our heart, it goes through a process, and that process of bringing it to us is Ali Muhammad. And then Imam says, he says that Ali is with the truth and the truth is with Ali. And he says that in this dunya, whoever wants that his feet shouldn't slip should follow the Sirat Mustaqim. Yes? Yes. So what is Sirat Mustaqim? And according to Ali Muhammad, they point to themselves and they say, Nahnu Sirat Mustaqim. We are the path that will never allow you to slip and fall. हम तुम्हारी लर्जिशों को संभालते हैं, और जब तुम टकराते हो दुनिया की रंगीनियों से, तो हम तुम्हें राह रास्त पे ले आते हैं. And Imam Sajjad says that there is no veil, कोई पर्दा नहीं है. Allah और उसकी continuous hujjat, the Ashra and Brentwood and the Majalises after that have all been consistently about Suratul Fajr, about how the hujjat of Allah came to Karbala and then beyond. So in Khamsa Sajjadiyya, wherever we've been talking in the past few days, I've been discussing that hidayat is continual. Agar hidayat toot jaye, wouldn't you and me question Allah that how can you punish us? We didn't have a guide. Yes. So hidayat is continual. And this is reinforced by Imam Sajjad when he says that there is no curtain between Allah and his proof. Allah aur uske hujjat ke beech mein. And he says that we are the doors of God. Hum hi Allah ka darwaza hai. We are the city of knowledge. We are the chamber of his knowledge. We receive the knowledge from him. And when we know the journey, see, when you open your, yesterday we got lost 3 times. New Jersey se aate aate 3 martaba hum kho gaye. GPS hone ke bawajood. So what do you have to say? GPS होने के बावजूद तो पता ये चला कि जो चीज इंसान बनाता है उसमें कोई खोट हो सकती है, लेकिन जो चीज अल्लाह बनाता है गाइडेंस के लिए, जो हमारी अक्ल है और जो हुज्जत है, वो कभी धोखा नहीं देते. So this is what Imam Sajjad says in Sahifa Sajjadiyya through his du'as. Why not we take it upon ourselves? I know this is intense and even difficult for most of us, me included. But why not just take a paragraph daily after any of your namaz, the namaz in which you are in most sukunat, हम अक्सर बहुत जल्दी में होते हैं, अल्लाह से मुलाकात जल्दी है ना, तेज, जल्दी जल्दी खत्म हो जाए, बोझ कम हो जाए। मैं आपकी बात नहीं कर रही, मैं अपनी खुद की कर रही हूँ। तो फिर कोई ऐसी एक नमाज होती होगी जो आप सुकूनत से पढ़ती होंगी, आधा घंटा, 1 paragraph, I just got your paragraph, nothing more, and in it are इतने दर्स है कि हमारा पूरा दिन निकल जाए ये डिस्कशन करते करते। He says that we are the interpreters, and when we want to go towards perfection, when insan wants to go towards perfection, he should follow us. Imam says, we are the pure itra. And then he says that remember the straight path, which is Sirat al-Mustaqim, is us. And then he goes on to say, he quotes, then Imam Sajjad quotes the surah of Surah Al-Dahr, and he says, do you know that there is a whole surah dedicated to us for the charities that we did, for what Allah loved in us? So allow me to say this in Urdu. He says, कुरान वो है हमारे अमल का मजमुआ, हम अमल करते हैं, अल्लाह आयतें भेजता है। हम तत्हीर में जमा हुए, अल्लाह ने आयत अज़ाब भेजी। हम मुबाहला में चले गए, अल्लाह ने हमारे लिए आय मुबाहला भेजी। हमारे गदीर के मौके पर जब हमें अल्लाह ने बुलंद किया, और जिसने सवाल किया और जिसने शक व शुबहात किए, उसके लिए अजाब को भेजकर अल्लाह ने क्लियर कर दिया कि हमारा पोजीशन उसके पास क्या है। हम अमल करते हैं, कुरान की आयत आती है और कुरान की आयत होती है, हम उस पर अमल करके उसको जिंदगी देते हैं। When we pray, it is said that when Imam Ali used to pray in the mihrab, and when Allah talks about the fazilat of namaz-e-shab, and he says that stand in the night and stand in vigil in Surah Al-Dahr, he said fortunate are those. Fortunate are those who stand in the night namaz. And here the fortunate ones, he says, are the ones who are us and our followers. कहा हमारे ही चाहने वाले salatul layl पढ़ेंगे, focused on salatul layl. And then it is said that in Surah Al-Dahr, ayat number 5, I will read to you 2 ayats, 5 and 7. Innal abrara yashrabuna ma'qasin qa'na mizajuha qafura. And Surah Dahr, ayat number 7, yufuna bin nadhari, the ones who fulfill their vows. Acha, pehli ayat, innal abrar, glad tidings for those. And what glad tidings? The qasimain, and they will be drinking from the purified water. Or usme kafur, the pure drink of paradise, will be presented to innal abrara, the ones who do good. It comes from bar. Be re re. Bar is goodness. And innal abrara, the ones who do the goodness. And he says, yufuna bin nadhari wa yukhafuna yawmil mustarrin. The ones who will be given these rewards are the ones who will fulfill their vows, and they fear the day of judgment. They fear the day of judgment. कहते कि जब तक चौथे इमाम जिंदा रहे, he was the mistaq of this ayat, the patience of Sajjad, the valor of Sajjad. You know, we have an image in our minds that this holy Imam was not brave. No, he was the bravest. The challenge that Imam Sajjad had, I do not think any other Imam हाथों को जोड़ के किसी और इमाम पर ये नहीं था that he would have to take his itrat in the bazaar and the darbar. Allah says in the Holy Quran that I promise that I will never erase your memory. And Imam Sajjad is the enlivener of this ayat. Allah says, I will not erase. So Imam Sajjad ne kya kiya? Khutbe diye. And Imam Sajjad kept the memory of his father alive. Today I bring to you the trials that faced the Imam post Karbala. Karbala tak to hum sab waqif hai कि कैसे he went with his mothers, his sisters, his daughters, and his aunts from journey to journey. Today I want to discuss with you what happens when he comes back from Medina. I'm not looking at the time, Rehana, but I know that there is Salah. What is the time? There's glare coming on this light, on this clock. I have 15 minutes, okay. So the trials facing the fourth holy Imam post Karbala, he still had to deal with Yazid. The injustice of Yazid was not over. Yazid was still alive. He had to deal with an unjust Umayyad government. When he came back, it is not as if he has brought, he has come back to peace. No, there is still turmoil in Medina. The mischief of Hajjaj, Abdullah ibn Zubair. The Umayyads wanted to turn Makkah and Medina into cities of corruption and immorality. There was lawlessness in the land because there was no one particular person that they could turn to for guidance. Do you know that Imam, once he reached Medina, he didn't stay in the Mahalla of Banu Hashim. He didn't stay there. He stayed outside Medina. Why? Because he did not want to be among the turmoil. He did not want to be part of what was happening in Medina. At the same time, he wanted to be away from all of this so that he could train people in his way, like he could do dua. He was training people through the portal of dua. He could not give khutbah because the takht was still with Yazid. He could not perform namaz like his father and his grandfather before him, because the official, the pesh namazes of the masjid were appointed by the Umayyads. So the challenges did not end with Karbala and Kufa and Sham. They came back to Medina, and it is said that they prevented Ali Muhammad from meeting people. Social boycott. हम पर थोड़े दिन 2 साल लग गया था boycott, दीवाने हुए जा रहे थे. 4 साल तक इमाम सज्जाद को कोई आकर पुरसा भी ना दे सका कि तेरे बाप पे ये मुसीबत गुजरी. It's not an easy life for him. It is said they frightened the Shias that were in Medina. Anyone, that was another challenge for Imam. Anyone who said, Ya Ali, was killed, was exiled, was looted, was left to death and mercilessly killed.
Here we are not restricted.
Ya Ali.
Ya
Ali.
Naray salawat baba de bulan 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 tari.
They killed the people that narrated anything good about Imam. Fazail padne walon ko maar dete the. And then they gave preference to hadith, which was concocted over the Quran. They did not act upon Quran, but they acted upon the traditions which they themselves narrated. Kitna bada challenge if you just ponder over each trial of Imam. And then it is said that they appointed corrupt people to pass laws and to pass judgments. Yani qazi kharide hue the, who would not judge according to justice, but they would judge according to preference of dawlat, preference of rishtedari, karabatdari. Agar hamara rishtedar hai aur wo galat bhi hai, to uske haq mein faisla dete the. And then it is said that Imam had to revive, in this stress, he had to revive Ashura. And how does he revive Ashura? He dealt with 6 mal'oon of Banu Umayyah. Allow me to just say their 6 names and then understand that who is braver? Abbas and Hussein that lay in Karbala after facing one Yazid. And it is so derogatory upon our 4th Imam when we say he was weak. You understand what I'm trying to convey to you today? He wasn't weak. A person who has to confront and come out victorious against 6 powerful personalities. Inke paas daulat thi, hukumat thi, takht taj tha, public thi. Muarrikh the, the writers of hadith, they had the entire state machinery with them. And Ali ibn al-Hussein had the Quran. Understand this. He had no companions. It is said that when he came from Medina, he had 20 followers with him who went with him outside Medina. The rest stayed back. The Shia stayed back. So with 20 people, he wanted to revive Ashura. And the 6 illegitimate, accursed Banu Umayyad were Yazid, number 1. Abdullah bin Zubair, number 2. Hijaz, number 3. Marwan, Abdul Malik bin Marwan, and Walid, who finally poisoned him. His bravery in words. Let me take you to the streets of Sham. And in the streets of Sham, when the son of Fatima was upon the Neza, सरनेज़ों पर है गरीब ज़हरा कसर खून आलूद सज्जाद रसन बस्ता बीबियों के गले रस्सियों में बंधे. इमाम फरमाते हैं, इमाम बाकर, who is the witness to Karbala. इमाम बाकर की यतीमी है ना आज, मौला उसकी पुरसा कबूल करो जो 72 का आजादार था, जो 35-34 साल सिर्फ इसलिए रोता रहा कि हाय शाम. हाँ आजादारो कहते मेरे मौला जब शाम से लौटे हैं, मिनहाल सवाल करता रहा, मिनहाल तुमने हम पर, हमारे साथ तुमने इंसाफ नहीं किया. मिनहाल याकूब का एक बेटा आंखों से ओझल हुआ, याकूब इतना रोए कि आंखों की बीनाई चली गई. ए मिनहाल मैंने तो अपने 12 यूसुफ को करबला में कत्ल देखा. अजरो को अल्लाह, बुलंद आवाज में रोइए. बाकर मौला फरमाते हैं हमारे जद के मसाए पे ऐसे रो जैसे एक बूढ़ी माँ अपने जवान के मैयत पर रोती है. और फिर मेरे मौला ने कहा कि आपको पता है मेरे बाबा को कौन सा दुख सताता रहा. हाय, इमाम फरमाते हैं कि मेरे बाबा जब किसी मैयत को बाद करबला देखते थे तो दहाड़े मार कर रोते थे, मेरे मजलूम हुसैन तुझे जनाजा नसीब न हुआ. इमाम बाकर फरमाते हैं, एक हदीस में मिलता है कि मौला फरमाते ہیں جنازے کے لیے 6 چیزیں ضروری ہوتی ہے. اگر آپ سن سکے ابھی جنازہ نکلے گا آپ کے غریب مولا کا جس کی تمام عمر پشت زخمی رہی, کربلا کے نیزے قیامت تک کے لیے میری مولا کی پشت میں رنگین تھے. امام فرماتے ہیں کہ 6 چیزیں ضروری ہوتی ہے تب جا کر کے مومن کے لیے دفن ہوتا ہے. کا سب سے پہلی چیز کہ کفن ہونا چاہیے. عزیزو ایک ایک بات پر آپ اپنے امام پر قربان ہو جائیے. اے مولا حسین, سجاد کہتے ہیں بابا تجھے کفن نہ ملا, ہاں زیادہ رو. سب سے پہلے کفن چاہیے, اس کے بعد کافور چاہیے, اس کے بعد غسل کروانے کے لیے پانی چاہیے, اس کے بعد روئی چاہیے, آئے جنازہ ہو لکڑی کا جس میں بدن کو ڈالا جائے, اور آخر میں قبر ہونی چاہیے جس میں جنازہ اترا جائے. ہائے میرے مولا باقر کہتے ہیں کہ میرا سجاد مولا اپنے باپ پہ روتا رہا, اے بابا تو اپنے خون میں غسل کر کے سو گیا, کربلا کی خاک تیرا کفن بنی. اے بابا اگر تیرے لیے میں جنازہ فراہم نہ کر سکا, بابا تیری لاش کے ٹکڑے سجاد نے ہاتھوں سے اٹھائے. بابا بابا زمین کربلا میں قبر کیسے بناتا, دونوں ہاتھ رسن بستا تھے, ہاتھوں میں زنجیریں تھی. لو تابوت بنا بنا کر جو تھک گیا آج وہ خود تابوت میں سو گیا. ایک بار زینul عابدین غریب مولا فرماتے ہیں کہ زہر دغا ولید نے دیا, مولا کا بدن سیاہ ہونے لگا, وصیتیں کی اے میرے لخت جگر باخر مجھ پہ گریا نہ کرنا, میرے غریب بابا پہ روتے رہنا جس کو پیاسا دنیا سے شہید کیا. میں نہیں جانتی. امام باقر کہتے ہیں کہ جب مولا کو غسل دینے لگے امام روتے ہوئے باہر آئے. آپ کو کوئی اور جنازہ یاد آ گیا؟ اندھیرا زندان, سکینہ کا لاشا. غسالہ رونے لگی, اس بچی کو کیا مرض تھا؟ سجاد نے کہا یتیمہ تھی, اس کا باپ جو مر گیا. ہاں زیادہ رو. امام باقر کہتے ہیں میں نے جب اپنے بابا کو غسل و کفن دیا میں نے اپنے بابا کی پشت پر پانی ڈالنا چاہا. آئے کربلا والا مظلوم, ارے شام کا قیدی, پشت رنگین, تازیانوں کا اثر 34 سال کے بعد بھی رہا. میں نہیں جانتی کہ باقر نے مدینے میں اپنے بابا کا لاشا اٹھایا ہوگا تو کیسے اٹھا ہوگا. آئیے بیبیو, لاشا سجاد آ گیا. ہوا غریبا, ہوا بے قصا. ہائے سجاد, ہائے سجاد, ہائے سجاد, ہائے سجاد, ہائے.
آتا